Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and today's video is going to be all about the Bobcat S300 skid steer loader. Before we get into the walk around, let's talk about the specs briefly. This machine weighs in at 8,500 pounds. The engine is a Kubota diesel, 81 horsepower turbocharged. With the inset tires like I have, that'll bring your width down to about 70 inches, and the machine will reach 10 feet 9 inches high. So it'll actually reach most high trucks and hoppers. The rated operating capacity is 3,000 pounds. Tipping load is 6,100 pounds. So before we get into the walk around, I just wanted to go over how I ended up with an S300. So my story begins back in 2002, maybe 2001 even, when Bobcat introduced the S250 skid steer loader. There was no S300 at the time. And the S250, a friend of mine purchased, and I used it to grade millings in a parking lot. And the machine was just unstable. It really lacked power. It was very rear heavy, so if you tried to do any digging with it, it would kind of rear up on its back. It just wasn't a very well designed machine, in my opinion. So I said, nah, this machine is not for me, and I kind of put it on the back shelf. So now, flash forward to 2007, 2008, when the economy was starting to take a downturn. I saw an S300 backfilling a foundation next to the auto parts store. I was buying some parts, and I saw that the guy was pushing just mountains of dirt with this machine. And I said, wow, I had always had in the back of my mind that they were not well balanced and they weren't good machines because when I tried it, it wasn't good. I said, I got a big school job project coming up, and I could really use a larger machine. The machines that I had at the time were the A43 and the T190, and I kind of wanted to get something bigger. There was a lot of material to move. We had to do stacking block walls and just moving a lot of pallets. So when I had received the job to do the new Catholic school, to do all of the site work, that's when I decided, you know what, maybe having the S300 to complement the 337 would be a good idea. Especially, I had to do a lot of lifting around the job site. I lifted steel I-beams as well to help the steel guy. I just did so much work there. And because the economy was turning down, I went to the dealership and I saw five used machines, five used S300s. They were in a line, and one of them, this one was red, the others were standard. They came from different contractors. Some of them traded them in, some of them were repossessed or whatever their story was. This machine was given back to the dealership. It belonged to an actual contractor. And the reason why I chose this machine was it had the lowest hours on it, which I believe was around 1100, and it was the only one with air conditioning. So that's why I chose this machine, even though it was $1,000 more. And everyone instantly just fell in love with it. I took it for a brief demo in their yard. They had a little pile of dirt in the back, and the machine just pushed and lifted, and it was night and day difference from the S250 that I had tried so many years previous. And even the dealership at Bobcat, they were telling me that they had made improvements to the machine over the years. I kind of, I just put it in the back of my mind that I didn't want it. Brought it to the job site. The builder, the concrete contractor, the asphalt guy, they all fell in love with this machine. At the time, no one was using such a large loader. Everyone had an S185 or a T190 or a 753, which is an S130, and the excavators were 328s and 331s. So 337s and S300s, especially combined together, was not really that popular, not done. Not too many people had seen larger machines like they're around now. So they were all very, very impressed with the machine. And I intended to keep it after I purchased it. I didn't buy it just for that specific job. But this machine has really helped me out a lot, lifting forms now and just doing heavy lifts. It's really come in handy. And I got to tell you, the pushing power is just amazing. The T190, the T250s, they bog down, they cut out. The T630 as well. This machine will never, ever stop pushing. It'll lift just about anything you put in front of it. It's super strong. It's great for loading trucks. And now that I added the 74-inch 4-in-1, loading trucks now is just an absolute breeze. There is absolutely no reason why you should own a skid steer loader and not have a 4-in-1 bucket. So the only thing that I don't like about the S300 is that with these big loader arms, it's a little difficult to see out of and back up, but the arms have to be large and thick because the machine is just so strong. So without any further ado, let's take you to the walk-around tour of the S300. And guys, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment at the end of the video. I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, so let's take a tour of the S300. This is his 74-inch 4-in-1 bucket and the 48-inch pallet forks. Alright, high flow auxiliary hydraulics. The tires are 12 by 16.5 foam filled inset rims. Your fuel fill. Don't ever fill your fuel if the machine is running, because the air comes out of this vent and the fuel will blow in your face. It happened to me. This is a 2-speed machine. This is the tailgate and the back. Sound suppression foam. This is the air filter, fuel filter. I believe these are your injectors. Oil filter. This is the starter, alternator, oil drain line, primer bulb for fuel, electric for your lights and backup alarm. Okay, it's a 4-cylinder turbo Kubota diesel engine. It's a V3300, 81 horsepower. This is your exhaust and muffler. This grill is removable. That's your coolant antifreeze tank and your radiator. There is a flaw on these machines. That tank does crack over time. It happened to me a couple of times. I think the machine has over 3,000 hours, so it went twice, which is not terrible, but it's not too good. Battery. You got decent access to jump it if you have to. I've seen it buried on worse on machines. Your oil fill is here. This is your drive belt. This is the alternator belt. All right, and this is a emergency door stop. You pull this out. See, it sits like that. Close the door, it won't close. So that is that. Okay, serial ID. On this side is the left side, so this is the hydraulic oil fill, and this is the hydraulic oil sight glass. Is equipped with the extra quick disconnect and the 7-pin electric, so it could run a stump grinder or an asphalt planer. That's what this machine originally did. It belonged to an asphalt contractor. That's who had it painted red. Okay. Alrighty, so I have this machine radio equipped. Windshield wiper, auxiliary power port is in there. This is the controls for the heat and the AC. That's your compressor, temperature dial. Okay, speakers are back here. They should really have been mounted up here, but they got mounted down here. This is the filter right here for the cabin filter for your heat and AC. These are your vents. You got 4 of them. 1, 2, 3 is here, and 4 is tucked away back in there. These are the parts to fix my windshield wiper. You see it got busted, but they gave me the wrong one, so these parts actually have to go back to Bobcat. This is a standard hand and foot controlled machine, so you got your foot pedals down there. Okay, we'll take a look at the deluxe instrumentation. This is the keyless start. That's your standard panel. So enter the code. So like I said, 3,080 hours on him. I bought him maybe 1,200 hours or 1,100, something like that. So this is the lights, and if you hold it down, it'll give you the codes, so no emergency codes. This is the bucket positioning. This machine is equipped with it. So as you raise your arms, your bucket will stay level without you having to do it manually. So I don't like that option, to be honest with you. That's why it's off. High flow auxiliary hydraulics, as you can see. And this is the regular hydraulics when you operate it for variable and maximum. Variable is for the 4-in-1 bucket. Maximum is for a backhoe attachment. So if you were running a backhoe on this machine, you would click twice to get it to there. Then you would hit this trigger right here, and that would give you constant flow to your backhoe attachment. This is the auxiliary pressure relief. So when you want to remove your attachment, backhoe, 4-in-1 bucket, grapple, tree chipper, push and hold this, and it will shut the machine down. The electric will stay on just like this, but the engine will kill itself, and you'll be able to take off the auxiliary hydraulics, disconnect them. This is the BIC system. So seat bar down, see the light goes on, push the button, lights are on. So if the machine was running, the traction lock override would be unlocked. So you can see that the pedals are unlocked, but they're not going to do anything. So that's that. You know what's funny? The lights are fluttering in the camera, but in real life they're not. That's weird. I wonder why the camera does that. Well, this is my iPhone, so maybe that's why. And this is the traction lock override function. So you push this button, and now the drive levers will work even if the seat bar is in the raised position. Okay, sliding windows. They slide for ventilation, both sides, and the whole window slides, not like the M series where they cut off like here. I don't know why they did that stupid design. Okay, so we're going to look at the keyless start system. Even though this, so if you take the question mark, it'll teach you how to use the display. Okay, so I was right. This is the engine oil pressure, hydraulic oil pressure. That's the system voltage, hydraulic oil temperature. So I was almost right. That's to lock and unlock. The tools set up, those how to control the screen, and that's just technical stuff. So when you click on this, password utilities, if you are to type in your master code, okay, so now you can modify the owner password. You could set, I believe, up to 8 user passwords, or if you hit the question mark, it'll teach you how to do all of that. Coming back, loader features. So display options, that's basically just this nonsense, what language you want, contrast, and the clock. If you go down to the attachments, it'll scroll you through different attachments and how to use them. So you could see here, backhoe attachment or the chipper. It'll run you through quite a few attachments, and it'll teach you what switches will do what on your joysticks. Lockout features, that's going to be the exact same deal. You can lock out the high flow, 2-speed, or you can downgrade the panel as if it was a key panel if you don't want people using it in that fashion. I never really understood it. Active warnings, this is if the machine is having an error code, it'll write it to you. Okay, so up here you have your power Bobcat switch. Open the levers to detach, close the levers to lock. This is the parking brake. I lock it just so the wheels are locked. If someone was trying to winch the machine to steal it, it would make it a lot tougher with the parking brake engaged. That's the only reason that's on. And this is to shut the engine off. So once you press the yellow button, you would type in your code, whatever it may be, and then you would press the yellow button again, and then press the green button to start. And then this is obviously your stop button. So if you had the 4-in-1 bucket, I mean, these switches, they all do different things. This is the turn signal, and these are just miscellaneous switches for different attachments. So this is if you had the turn signal package for the road, and this is 2-speed That's high mode. I think it goes about 12 miles an hour. Low is around 6 or 5. And this is to control the 4-in-1 bucket. See how you can kind of feather it? So the original machines that came out in the mid-90s, they had a switch like this. So it was either all in or all out. Kind of hard to run a 4-in-1 and a grapple that way, so that's why Bobcat switched over to this. See how you could just slowly feather it back and forth. Okay, if you want to remove these windows for cleaning, you unscrew these knobs, the window will pop out. Same thing here, unscrew this knob, unscrew this knob. You move these, the track will drop down. You could slide out this window and this window to clean it. I don't bother with that. I wouldn't recommend it to do that. Over on this side is the throttle. That's open, that's low. And over here is the emergency relief valve. So if the machine should shut down in a failure for any reason, you pull this up, you push your lever down, and the arms will drop down. It'll relieve the hydraulic oil pressure so the arms will hit the ground and you can get out safely. If you have a failure and your bucket is dumped and you try to put it down and you have a front door, you're going to have to pull the emergency seal, which is here. You pull this out, kick the door out. This way you can get out of the machine. That's the real drawback to Bobcat's design, having this door swing out like this. So this is the handle. You open the door, it goes like that. If you had the window just roll back up like other manufacturers, you wouldn't have that problem getting locked in the machine. So that's just my 2 cents. Okay, so that's the visual tour of the S300.